My name's Pete Watt and I work for Indufor here in New Zealand, and our role with the Guyana project was really to set up a system where they could monitor forest change across the whole country at a 1 hectare level. And that was to support RED. So a lot of countries were involved in setting up systems to monitor forest change, and this was Guyana's contribution to RED. So Guyana itself is located between Brazil and Venezuela, and it's a country about the same size as the UK. Forests cover around about 85% and backs into the back of the Amazon. When we first turned up in Guyana, we're back in 10 years ago now, so back in 2009, they really just had a country boundary. So we had nothing to start with, and really the job was to work out where forest change was occurring and how large that forest change was. At that stage, actually, the Forestry Commission were really good at mapping using GIS systems, but less experience with using satellite data. So our role really was to take a lot of the information and provide sort of tech transfer and develop tools that the Guyanese Forestry Commission could do it themselves.
My role there was to support the Forestry Commission staff, and that involved assisting them with mapping areas of deforestation. So a lot of the background starts from mapping through satellite imagery and the detecting areas of non-forest or changes going from forest to non-forest. And we've developed a methodology to map out these areas from year to year. The first couple of years we spent a lot of time in country helping the team in Guyana to work through the methodology, be consistent with the approaches that we applied. I mean, the ultimate goal was always we'd hand the project entirely back to the Forestry Commission, and what we've seen throughout the last few years is handing more and more responsibilities back to the Forestry Commission has resulted in a very successful program. We are more of a supporting role now, where we still spend a lot of time in country to support the staff members in Guyana, but ultimately they are able to do the mapping process from end to end now.
To my mind, actually, the success of the project is really down to, the implementing agency, which is the Forestry Commission, and just from day one, their real interest and passion in taking the project forward. Some really valuable discussions through the project in terms of how to do things from a technical perspective, always engaged, and what they've managed to achieve over the last 10 years is quite outstanding. Going from nothing to something that rolls forward and has a real GFC sort of ownership. They're just committed to monitoring the forest change, and that to me is really a good tangible process or outcome. And it's quite different actually if you look at a lot of projects where technical support is quite fragmented or a little bit come and go. In this case, it's actually been sustained, and they've built on what we've been able to pass over, and over time the system's evolved into something that's really technologically world class. Well, I think over 10 years, they've got 10 years of history now, which is a really good baseline to start from. So for each year, you effectively you're updating the change for each year, and that's something that's really valuable in terms of knowing where it's happening and where it's occurring. And that is a layer that's really needed for, I guess, sustainable monitoring and management of forests. And moving forward with that, it's because it's a Guyanese system, they can go more real time. Technological innovations over the last probably 2 to 3 years mean that you've got faster processing speeds, like you go from a desktop to a cloud-based process. You don't need to download imagery anymore. There's more imagery data that basically gives you daily to weekly coverage over the same location.